Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns, and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch, for this night and all the nights to come. This is the vow of the Night's Watch that John, Sam, and every other member of the Night's Watch must take before joining. But is it really? Well, there is some evidence that this was not always the case. Join me today as I explore the question, did the Night's Watch vows change over time? In A Storm of Swords, Sam is stuck north of the Wall. He is helped by the wight of a former Night's Watchman known as Cold Hands to find his way back south by travelling through the Black Gate at the Night Fort. Now, the Black Gate is interesting for 3 reasons. It is said to be as old as the wall itself, it can only be opened by a member of the Night's Watch who has said their vow, and it is only opened by saying a portion of those vows. On your first read, you may think that this is because the gate asks you who you are and the Night's Watchman would respond with that part of his vows. But in this video, I will contend that the Night's Watch vows were originally only this section, and at least 2 times throughout the Night's Watch history, the vows were expanded. If we look at the current version of the vows, they can be broken up into 3 sections. There are the vows of action, the vows of restriction, and the vows of bondage. Now we know from Sam's interaction with the Black Gate that originally there was at least the vows of action. Furthermore, these are the vows that speak of the Night's Watch's original purpose of defending the Wall and Westeros from the others. So the question then becomes, when were the other vows added? Well, the records from this time period are a bit shaky, but I believe the first expansion of the vows came as the results of the actions taken by the 13th commander of the Night's Watch, a man known only as the Night King. A quick aside for those who haven't read the books. In the books, the Night King is very different to the character we get in the show. He was a man who was the commander of the Night's Watch, who one day saw a beautiful woman with extremely cold white skin and blue eyes north of the Wall that he fell in love with and married. He was said to give his soul and his seed to her. He then declared himself king and ruled for 13 years until the Starks allied with the Wildlings to kill him. After this, they learned he was sacrificing to the others and erased his name from history. Now, the Night King is an interesting character in terms of the Night's Watch, because almost all the vows of restriction seem to be written to oppose specifically what he did. The Night King's story is about him taking a wife, fathering children, wearing a crown, and holding lands. The only one of these vows that he might not have broken was to win no glory, but even that's debatable. So I believe that it was this event that first led to the expansion of the Night's Watch vows, as these vows seem to be specifically written to stop all of the steps the Night King took to take over the Watch. Thus, the vows went from being just the vows of action to the vows of action and the vows of restriction. Now the next question is, when were the rest of the vows added? And I think that this relates to the well-documented loss of purpose the Watch faced over time. When the Watch was founded, it had a clear goal: to protect the realms of men from the others. At this time, I don't believe that the Watch was necessarily a lifelong duty. It could have well been young men spending a few years on the Wall before leaving and living their life, much like joining the military is today. But over time, as the others were slowly forgotten about, less and less people would do their tours there. The Watch became more and more desperate for people. Finally, they were forced to stoop to recruiting the dregs of society, the people that had nowhere else to go. Some of those people were people that were banished, who were allowed to join the Watch so long as they added a few extra vows about not leaving the Watch. And, as time went on, everyone started to have to take these vows, as the Watch turned from the shield that guards the realms of men to a place where you put people outcast from society. Thus we can see how the Watch changing over the years has influenced its vows. From its noble beginnings of having the vows of the actions they will take, to the Night King's rebellion, giving the Watch more restrictive vows, and finally, the slow loss of purpose of the Night's Watch, bringing about the vows of bondage and the complete loss of the original purpose of the Night's Watch.